Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round two, day two of ArTalks Summerfest 2024. I'm going to give both of you an opportunity to introduce yourselves, number one, and then how you are connected in this moment, as in it's a collaboration. Yeah? So, this first, who are you?
Hi, my name is Jasmine Jaramillo. I am the artistic director of the Jaramillo Dance Group, and we are a modern dance company based out of the really Denton, I'm going to say, not Dallas. I say Dallas because people don't know where Denton is, but we're based in Denton, in North Texas. And I happen to commute for my job, but I work at a fine arts school in Fort Worth, and I'm the chair of the dance department there. It's called the Fort Worth Academy of Fine Arts, and we are a concert trained program. So we do a lot of ballet, a lot of modern and jazz at that school. And then I'll hand it over.
Doing the good work.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Taylor. I have been dancing with Jasmine for probably as long as I've danced, which is, I don't even know how long now, like 15 plus years. I don't
Yeah.
even know how old I am. I'm from Denton, so after I graduated high school, I got my yoga 200-hour certification, as well as my Pilates mat certification and Bar Vita certification. So I do a little bit of that now and dancing with Jasmine, just for funsies. So
Funsies. So that's how we know each other.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's just go straight into talking about the work. So both of you worked, contributed to the dance that we're seeing this weekend. Yeah. So how about a title? And then you can kind of bounce off one another who wants to add in a little bit about, the brainstorm of it all and how it came about.
It's called a Macarena.
Hey.
Everyone should be a little familiar. Um, it's an idea that I had driving in my car one day. I feel like when I'm driving and listening to music, I black out, which probably isn't safe.
It's common.
But I find myself choreographing in my head, listening to music while I'm driving a lot. I'm sure some of y'all do the same. um, that's just kind of how I thought of it. I kind of like the idea of something being simple and then taking it out of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the dance, it brings it back. So that's just kind of where we started with that. So
Yeah.
And then just to kind of piggyback off that, I usually will come to rehearsal, and if we are starting for new stuff, I really like to ask them like, "Hey,
Yeah.
do y'all have any music you've been into? Do you have any ideas? You like what have you been feeling like?" And so I like to try and collaborate so that I'm not the sole choreographer because sometimes I don't want to be the choreographer and I
Yeah.
just want to dance or help like facilitate. So that was a rehearsal while we came in and like, hey, do you have a song? She's like, hey, I have a song. And then I thought about this idea. And so then we like to joke a lot in rehearsal, but so we were all like, what if we did the Macarena, but we made it modern? Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? And so then we literally started by formatting like, okay, the actual Macarena is like 2/8 counts. And so then we all gave ourselves 2/8 counts and kind of turned it into a modern phrase. And then from there, we kind of went really math on this one, which is weird because we don't math we don't math a lot. But we gave each other counts, and it was like a contagion dance, like a contagion dance. And the tricky part is that we all have set counts, but we don't have set spots. So we go in our order. We usually take the same pathways, but sometimes we don't. And so sometimes you end up across the stage and you're like, oh, this is new. And so that's kind of the fun of this piece. It changes a little bit every time we do it, just because we did give ourselves that freedom of like, as long as you're doing this on your count, you do it any direction, you face any way. And then that kind of made it like a living, breathing thing that just changes as we do it every time.
Okay, I got two questions based off of that, and I don't want to forget them, so I'm going to ask them all at once, and you're going to help me stay on track. Number one, can you talk a little bit more for maybe our untrained audience of how you modernize a I was going to say fad dance. It's essentially what it is, right? A trendy dance. And then number two, as a performer, what it's like to not always have it set. That in and of itself is a challenge, right? So we can do that in whatever order we want, but those are the two main questions that came out of that.
Can you do that? I'll do the second one first because I have the answer for that one.
I'll answer the first one.
For most of the girls in the company, like Caitlin said, we've been dancing together for a very long time. I used to be her teacher at one point, and now we're peers, which is really neat. And so we grew up in a very structured ballet, like modern studio setting. So it is really different for us to, we were not raised on choreography like that.
Right.
And so when Aileen and I went to TW, we got a lot of information about lack of parameters and that that's okay, and to it doesn't have to be the same every time, and to see it's an experiment, you know, it's a moving experiment, and so that this is one of the first pieces that we really like played with that, and I think it worked out well for us. But it at first we were like, you know, like I don't know what direction I'm facing, I don't know what count
Yeah.
I'm on, but you just get used to it, and it does end up being fun. We're like, I'll go over here now, and then I'm gonna go over here, like.
I think it really does help that you have that longevity and that intimate relationship, because I think it builds a sense of trust that even if they're not in the same place that they were the last time, that they know where they are. And that you know where you are. Yeah.
You want to do the first one? The tray.
Oh yeah, so I'll repeat the
The
question,
first one.
right? So Macarena, like you said, it's very familiar. Most people know it. I mean, children all the way up to our seasoned humans, right, are familiar with this and can potentially do it, which is what trendy dances tend to do. And I don't say that in a flippant way, right? Trends are cool. Trends are awesome. Still not on TikTok, but you go for it. Yeah. So, but how do you take something like that that is familiar and then turn it into something that, where I am in my culture here in this time and place, modern dance is not familiar at all. Therefore, there's almost like a fear of uncertainty and unknown, and so yeah. How do you transition that? How do you negotiate that?
I think it's I feel like it's kind of easy with the Macarena just because it is so familiar. So kind of when we there's like three main combos in this choreography, and each one strays farther
Okay.
from where we started. So like the first one you still can very obviously see like that's the Macarena. But then once we go farther you can still see it because you know where we started.
I see. Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's almost like you plant that seed. Here's
Yeah.
something that you know.
And then we bring you more.
And then we're just
more.
going to take you on this journey with us. And yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. Um, I think I had another question in my mind, and they fly out when I start talking, especially with my hands. Yeah. So talk a little bit, since the two of you are up here. Talk a little bit about that transition from student teacher to peer colleague collaborator. Yeah. If you can, if you will. I mean, was it just natural? It just happened one day,
I feel
or
like it was very natural. I mean, like for me, I mean, because we both danced first with a company in Denton also called Cholo Rock Dance
okay,
Collective. So we were both there, and then we kind of are, I guess we're considered a sister company from that. We kind of branched off.
okay,
So we both danced together there and then branched off. So I feel like it's
yeah,
Um, yeah, like I said, I've known like my high school job was teaching dance at our home studio, and so that's where we all met, and we all kind of, you know, we didn't really go off anywhere like big for college. We stayed local, and a lot of kids that we grew up with like stopped dancing, you know, after, like we did all this
yeah.
training and all this performance and stuff, and then everyone just kind of went off, and not a lot of people kept dancing, and we were like, why? But why? We've been doing all this work, like, and we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of our way to just keep dancing, even though we didn't necessarily go off to like New York, or we weren't, you
Right.
know, trying to do like big companies or anything. We stayed local, and that was just really a way for us to stay connected and keep dancing. yeah, and so it is cool to have, like, we're all really close and friends now, but like at one point, like as a teenager, I was I was their teacher for a second, and we have a dancer here with us, and I was her high school teacher more recently. So they were giving her some grief because she called me Miss J, and they're like, Miss J, Miss
Oh
J.
no,
But it's I
no.
love it.
Yeah.
It's sweet. It makes me happy. But yeah, so it's kind of cool to provide just like a place for all of us to be, if we didn't, necessarily want to go out and major like at
Yeah.
Mary Mountain in Manhattan in
Yeah.
ballet, right? But
Right.
we still want to keep dancing our lives and keep our training up and keep experimenting and presenting just different work.
Yeah, I
So
think that's what's most important, right?
keep
As
creating.
just keep doing it. Just
Mhm.
keep doing it. And then I think the last question, what do you hope that the audience gets, or what is your relationship with the audience with this work in particular?
I think our our vibe as a group, as a company, we're very lighthearted. We joke. We like to say that we're working on our stand up all the time, and things of the sort. So we like to not take ourselves too seriously, and so I think this was created also as a way to be like, oh my God, is that the Macarena? Are they doing the Macarena? Like, and just
Yeah.
kind of bring just a little lightness to any performance, because we've all done serious and sassy, or like whatever, but this is just like a fun kind of light interpretation of a social dance that you're like, oh my God, the 90s, the
Yeah.
Macarena. Like, and we, like I said, we love to joke, we love pop culture, we love our little one-liners. For this trip, it's women in STEM.
Mm.
Anything we fix for like women in STEM. So safety
Women in
pin,
STEAM.
safety pin, anything like.
Women in STEAM.
Yes.
I
So
change that right now. Women in STEAM. Because you know that innovation comes from your critical thinking and your problem solving. Okay, that's the A and that's STEAM. Come on
see,
now.
so yeah, we just like to keep things light, and so we hope that the audience just has like a fun time with it,
Yeah,
and just like a little bit of recognition, and then kind of take it from there, however they see it.
perfect. Thank you so much for joining us
You're
this
welcome.
evening. I really enjoyed hearing about your work. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.